Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with our friend and our coach, Maritza Coscarelli. She's here from Florida, back in Palm Beach, Florida, I believe. She recently was visiting New York for a lot of fun events with her daughter. But as a coach, transformational keynote speaker, and so much more. She's joining us here once again today, live from Florida. How are you?
Thank God for trains, planes, and automobiles. I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm great. So I followed your daughter on Instagram. I can't believe how successful she is. Oh my goodness.
Well,
Yeah, after we spoke the last time. And so tell everyone you were in New York City for Fashion Week and amazing.
wow, what to tell? So Alyssa had created, along with a store, a brick and mortar store that exists in Soho or Nolita, which is for people who don't know New York, like the Lower East Side of New York area. And she had created and curated designers who use materials again. So sustainability is a really good trend for our environment. And they're using physical materials to create things, both fashion and house things, lifestyle decor. And she curated all these designers together so that they could be exposed during Fashion Week and attracted by her audience. And I was there for the press and preview night. It was an incredibly proud moment. I'm always learning. So it's really good that I do this for my work and I love it because I don't experience anything in life hardly anymore without saying, what is the lesson here for us? Not just for me, but for all of you listening, for Jill, for all of us, right? Because if we're always curious and learning, life becomes pretty delightful. So I learned women together are better. Like a whole of women is better than the sum of its parts. It's exponential what people and women in particular create when they pull together. So
Yes.
collaboration and community are the name of the game. I learned we all need to pace ourselves. And honestly, even I struggle with that. So we're going to talk about that today. With your permission, we'll see where this goes, Jill. I'd like any questions that you have, but New York was unbelievable. So beautiful this time of year. You guys were having a little late summer, but the evenings were already getting cool and lovely.
And today it's like 60 degrees. It's freezing. I put on a thermal. I was like, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
look
it's
at
nice
me,
and
I'm back in
chilly.
the heat. It's
Yeah.
cooling off here too. We've had lots of rain finally, so it's cooling off. Yeah, but New York was magical. The other thing is be careful when you have negative opinions of things and you just voice them freely. I heard a lot of negativity about what I call my hometown, the home city of New York, before I went,
Yeah, we've
about
talked
how
about
it's
that.
showing
Yeah.
up and everything. And I have to tell you, it was beautiful, glowing, electric. And yes, there are some awful things happening and we need to address them. But everything is about what lens and perspective you look at things through. I know it's not easy for a lot of people, but it still had the magic of New York City. That doesn't go away.
Never, ever, ever. Well, congrats on that to your daughter as well. And for those new listeners out there, let's just remind them of your website, how we can reach out to you, and we'll get started. I'm sure it's going to be a great topic, as always.
Absolutely. I'm guiding and empowering women and heart-centered men, especially in entrepreneurial or side hustle pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
And I built my business through speaking compellingly and captivatingly and listening so that I would be speaking clearly to my audience. And you can find out more at maritzacoscarelli.com. Maritza like Sam, Carelli. Anything you need to know is there, and take me up on a complimentary call. It is not a sales call, but a time for us to break through together to what's next for you.
Beautiful. And what's next for us today? What are you inspired to talk about?
Well, I read a quote. I think Jane Weber is the writer. I'm not sure who Jane is. I haven't done the research yet, but I got an inspiring quote that said, if you want fast relief, slow down. If you want fast relief, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something I know for certain after many decades on this earth and lots of continued learning, and it's that we tend to move too fast and think that doing more achieves more.
Yeah.
And what I learned, even pacing myself through this trip, unexpected things will happen. I'm going to respect the privacy of the individual, but we had a medical emergency completely unexpected when I was there. And it wasn't me or my daughter, so please don't worry, but it was somebody very close to us. And it like threw me for a loop on the inside, but I had to remain composed and the person acting on her behalf on the outside. And I will tell you what, this is always going to happen. And if we don't give ourselves space and time and repose, like rest and all the things, right? If we're always going, 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 and this is to myself too, then our accomplishments, our achievements, our results are actually slower. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but this goes back to ancient times.
Yeah.
Whatever your faith base, whatever it is, if you feel in a hurry or if you want to get something done and you're running late, slow down. So we're going to go into that a little bit more and do some affirmations and realize that as the flow of life changes, and it's continually changing. Here we are at the change of seasons, right? You have your
Yeah.
thermal, we're
Yeah.
feeling weather change, we're feeling how summer is kind of an active time, and now it's going to be time to kind of go indoors a little more. And that means for us too, go inside a little more. What I have done during this challenging trip and then getting back and right into work more than I should have is learn that I need to give myself reentry time. And I have been meditating and slowing down more instead of less. And I still made mistakes and got some curveballs thrown at me. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what do you think about that, Jill?
I think it's so true. It's funny because you think like fall, winter, it's like hibernation. Even if it, someone who lives in the South, like you, for example, you're still experiencing sunshine, but there is still that lull, that feeling of less energy and the way energy is just right. I feel like spring, summer, we're also like, ah, and now it's time to kind of calm down, kind of like hibernate, kind of feel a little more in touch with yourself and calm down a bit. And I think on an energy level, our energy kind of goes down. Not that it's a bad thing, because we shouldn't be high, so high all the time. But especially here in New York, I mean, there's a just different feel in the air and different excitements with the pumpkins in the fall and then the holidays. But I also feel a little calmer than the summer, which was more hyper, more active. But that's my own opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? Some of what I share for the listener's sake is opinion, but a lot of it is science-based, researched, studied, statistically proven. And I don't just speak from personal experience, right? I
Hmm.
speak from loving education, information, science, and research. And I can tell you this, our bodies are speaking to us all the time. I think I've said this on every episode. And if you're wondering right now, like, wait a minute, what does this have to do with business and what does this have to do with coaching? I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
When I am not what I call grounded and centered, what that means is I'm moving from my core values. I'm allowing myself space for old, letting go of the old so the new can come in, right? And when I'm not doing that, it's very difficult for me to speak intelligibly, like to communicate with all of you
Yeah.
with your best interest in my heart and mind and get through clearly. I can't do that if I'm all over the place. I can't do that if I'm tired, right? So be careful when you listen to yourself when you're either not taking great care or you're exhausted or you're afraid. So you're like, I would love to talk about my idea. I would love to get funding. I would love to do this thing. I would love my business to grow. And yet you're not treating yourself well and you don't feel right. And so you can affirm and visualize and write down a goal all you want. But if you're not feeling compelled to act, either come up with a new goal, like revisit, is this really what I want? Is this what I desire to do? Right? Because to have that taking up your brain calories and your heart and your psyche and all that, if you're not going to follow through with it, is a waste of precious energy. So get clear, grounded, and centered before. And I affirm today, let's let go of what's behind us. I think it was Timon or Pumbaa in Lion King. I don't know why I'm with Jill. I always refer to
Uh-huh.
animation.
I know, right?
Animation
And
is written
songs, yeah.
really well. And you have two children, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have children, grandchildren. But there's one of our favorite lines. I think it says, put your behind in the past. But it sounds funny, right? But it's true. So letting go of what's behind us, other than the lessons learned, is very important because you make room. Same as decluttering or cleaning, which we've talked about before. In your brain, in your heart, and in your environment, you want to make room because you allow space for things to come to you. You're not pushing so hard, right? You're opening up something within you that says, I'm ready for a new beginning.
Yeah.
Every end is a beginning's end, right? So everything ends. It's a cycle, just like the seasons. And if you really say, I'm letting go, I'm surrendering, that's behind me now. And I know it's hard with certain
Yep.
things,
Yeah.
you can move forward. And I know you can vouch to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so be willing to go with the flow and let go of the past and move
Absolutely.
forward. And if you're not, find support. I started by saying women together, heart-centered men together, men and women together that have each other's best interests in mind. The results are exponential. There is no such thing as a solopreneur. We have a misnomer. You could be a soul and heart-centered preneur, but you cannot pursue entrepreneurial pursuits completely in a vacuum, in a silo by yourself. There's just no way.
Got it. It's true. It really is true. Wow.
Yeah, let's go with the flow. Let's open space
Let's do it.
for new things to come in, and then you could take an action towards that new thing. They say that pain is inevitable, physical, emotional, psychological, mental. It's a human condition. But suffering is optional. Suffering is when you hang on to the pain, you don't get to the root cause of it, and you can't heal it and let it go.
Yeah.
So pain might be inevitable in human bodies and condition, but suffering is optional. If you, for any reason, are suffering something, you can slow down, you can find support, and then you can express yourself.
Yep.
So that's what I've got for you guys today. I wonder if you have any questions, Jill, or
Well, in regards to expressing yourself, right? I think today's the day and the age where so many people are expressing, I just went to where was it last night? Oh my God, where was I? I was at the hospital. My son was sick. I'm like, where was I? Yeah, he
oh
had a bad
goodness,
stomach ache for 3 days. He was home. Long story short, it's not appendicitis. We're at the hospital. And I see all the bathrooms changed to all inclusive genders, it says. And I'm like, wait, what? It's like everything has, I haven't been out in a while, I guess. I'm like, oh my gosh, the bathrooms all say that now. Like everything, talk about change. There's been so much change with the LGBTQ community, with, I mean, people in general. And I feel like I'm out of the loop because I don't get out much because I have children now. But talk about like, life has changed so much, and to go out and to see these things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really, I laughed at first, and I'm like, wait, no, that's kind of important to some people, and maybe it's not me. I said, but wait, I have to respect that. But wow, all gender inclusive bathroom. I've never heard those words. And I'm like, there's so much going on in this world. And I know we stopped talking about Russia and the war, which kills me because that
because
was
it's
so
still
big and
happening.
it's still happening. But I feel like we don't care as much. It's not covered as much on the news for us. These people are still fighting. And change
There is a
is,
lot going on, you know?
yeah,
I mean, I'm preparing a live event for the start of the year. You are invited, all are invited. It will be limited to 15. This one is women only. But the whole premise of what I'm creating, I wrote a lot of the text and copy in this week. And what I'm creating and inviting you to is a bee treat, BE,
oh,
instead of a
not a
retreat.
retreat. What's a beach treat? Never heard
A
that.
bee treat is where in your life can you let yourself just effing be?
Yes.
There's so much happening around us that pulls at us and breaks our hearts and nourishes our hearts, and just the constant stimuli, right? And change. So it's easier to be clear about what you desire, to act according to that, and to create something for yourself and for others, right? When you change as life changes. Like, I know it's hard. Oh my gosh, believe me, I'm not as young as I used to be. And I think about my parents. I'm lucky to have my Lita and my Poppy, and they're in their late 80s, right? Can you imagine what the world seems like to them from the late 50s to now? It has to be like, what the heck is happening? So you gave a great example. some of us may feel like I've got to dig my heels in because this doesn't align with my beliefs, my values, right? What I think things should look like. But you know what? The only one that gets tense and in a fight or flight mode by that resistance is you.
Yeah.
And is your health, your happiness, your well
Hmm.
being worth it? To
Mm.
hurt yourself by saying, I resist and I don't want things to change this way. And I don't think they're right for me and my children and my grandchildren and the people I love. But you know what? They're going to keep changing around us, whatever our beliefs might be. And we all hold some kind of bias. We have a belief and many beliefs that we came up with that are in our subconscious mind. They're not going anywhere unless we choose to do something with them. So I think what I lovingly invite us all to do
Yes.
is slowing down, making space, and even requesting of yourself, where can I go with the flow here? Is this worth my peace of mind? Is this worth ill health? Is this worth me going out through the day depressed or fearful
Oh,
with results
you just broke up a second. Hold on. That's why I have a look of, oh
of
my gosh.
anger? And how does that ripple out into the world, right?
You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
I saw that. Yeah,
Okay.
I saw that.
Sorry.
Are we back together? I have an
Yeah.
unstable connection, but go ahead. I can hear you.
On
Yeah, we're
something
good.
to the world. I missed what you said the last part. I'm sorry. And now
It
you're back.
doesn't serve us. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't serve us and our loved ones, the children, particularly that we all can rally around, whatever children we have in our lives. It doesn't serve them, right, for us to be in fight or flight or freeze mode all the time. And so we have to make a choice that is good for us, good for our loved ones, and that ripples out that way into the world. We are not helping the world by everyone being in disagreement and fight. And you gave such a beautiful but simple example. If most restrooms now are all gender, you might need to go somewhere else if you insist that that's not for you, but it might be worth saying this is the way things are now. And you said it so beautifully.
Change.
It may
Yeah.
help someone who cares about this and
Mhm.
needs this more than I do. We can't, I wish the world revolved just around us, but we're just a speck in the universe. And that's okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
are. And through the eyes of my children asking questions, it's like, wow, they ask all these questions. My son was asking about gravity the other day and inquisitive about how we're spinning so much. You must be learning in school. And how come it's just like, you're right, we're a little speck of nothing in this huge universe that's spinning round and round and round. So yeah, we really
It's so
are.
funny coming from me, right? I say last week we're uniquely brilliant, each and every one of us. So it's like stars. It's lovely to think about it like stars, right? If you're at a planet or a star, they're massive, right? Here we are on this big blue marble. Then you look at it out there in the universe. This marble is teeny tiny, right? There's many galaxies, many planets, many. So it's the same with us. We're this uniquely beautiful little shining star, and we get to polish it and shine and help each other shine, right? But at the same token, we get to accept with humility and curiosity of a child, like your beautiful son, if we are learning and we are on this journey of whatever our lifetime is, then we're in it together and we're all just a speck of dust. And they say, to dust we return. My mama taught me that young, and I thought it was so morbid, like, oh, that's horrendous, but it aligned with her faith, right?
Yeah.
And it really is true. Make the most of this moment. I think the best thing we can affirm, two things today. One is, I am willing to change. Are you willing to change as you and your life change around you? I am. I choose that. You don't have to choose it, but I invite you. What does that feel like, right, in your body? I'm willing to change as I change and as the world around me changes. I'm willing to
Mhm.
do that. It's
Yeah.
a bit of a relief, right? And also, we let go, right? And when we let go, we make space for new beginnings, new and wondrous beginnings. And if we allow ourselves to begin again every day, every moment, things feel better, things turn out better. When we're good, we do good.
Yeah. It's so
It's really
true.
amazing. Yeah, your son is
Gosh.
lovely. Your boys are such
Live,
an
eat.
inspiration.
Thank you so much. Yes, I was I got home at like midnight. So
Oh,
late night, then I got them up for school. So I never had time to get ready today. So that's why I was like, I'm just leaving my hair wet. I don't have time to dry my hair. So it's,
no, you're naturally beautiful.
thank
I
you for
wouldn't have
understanding.
known if you didn't tell me,
Thank
Jill.
you for
I would have never known.
understanding. Yes,
Yeah.
my hair extensions are still wet, and then I keep wetting them because it's getting frizzy. So I'm like, I'm taking water like this, and I'm going.
Oh my gosh, we're so funny. I know. Literally, I get ready for this podcast with a 20-minute window. I'm
I
like, oh,
remember the time you were at the gym
I
and you
was
were like,
working
"Oh
out.
my gosh," and you looked amazing within like 2 minutes of getting
That was
home
the
and just
workout
popping on the
glow.
hair. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to tell your audience that I did hear from a couple of people and that I would love to hear from you. If I can support you to grow something of your own, I posted a poster that I saw in the street of New York, make your side hustle your main hustle.
Hmm.
It's not for everyone, but if you're being called to that, or if you just want to have a really lucrative, impactful, and influential side hustle, go for it, right? And do it with support. There are things I have gone through already, owning businesses, growing businesses, raising children that are now successful adults, all those things, right? Where I've learned things and I can save you not all the bumps and challenges and barriers, but a lot of them. You can shorten the time in which you make an impact and grow a business by, I would say, 3 to 5 years, right? So you'll accomplish more in 3 years, what would have taken you 5 to 7 years when you have the guidance of somebody who's done it. So, and don't let the start stop you. That's what one of my mentors says. If you wait till tomorrow
Mm.
and wait till tomorrow, time is getting away from you and you will feel much better if you just started. The start gives you momentum. Things are easier in the flow and with momentum. So I'm here for all of you. And whoever is called to that and reaches out, I will support you if we are a good fit in the best way I can to be living the best way that you can.
Beautiful. Okay, so when is the book coming out?
The book is right now slated for January of 2023. I just heard from
Hmm.
my cover designer this morning, and it is called Empowered. This is a working title. Empowered will stay. The subtitle is The Five Keys to Your Self-Empowerment.
Amazing, amazing. And when did you start working on it?
Oh, I would say as a thought 3 years ago, and actively, I have worked on it all of 21 and now 22. I wish I could say I wrote a 90-day book. Too many stories and
Some
too much
people
to
do that. I'm
share.
like, what? Yeah.
It takes you longer to write a short and direct book, honestly. You can do a 90-day as a lead generation, they call it. If you have a specific thing you're selling and you're wanting to get out there and you want that credibility, we can do that, right? People do it. But I really wanted something that will help and guide people so that whether they choose to work with me or not, it makes a difference in their business, their career, and their life. So Empowered will be out in January. I foresee a screenplay or a theater play coming out of it. So maybe a one-woman show that I write, direct, and produce and don't star in, or maybe myself. We'll see, but that's the vision I have for it.
That's
We'll
amazing.
see. Yeah.
Congrats. And would you mind just sharing some of the client experiences so people listening could kind of empathize with the type of work you're doing and the type of people you're helping? I know I ask that all the time, but there's new listeners and you have different stories all the time anyway, but I think it's important. Yes.
It is really important. I'm meeting with a client right after this call. She and I have had an ongoing relationship, and that is where service and sales happen in ongoing relationships. Listen to the past episodes because I think we did an episode on building those
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and we'll continue with that maybe next time. But she is incredible. I will keep her anonymous, but say that she is on the autism spectrum, but is a high level tennis and pickleball coach, even to professionals. How incredible
Wow.
is that?
Yeah,
She's
that
a,
is incredible.
she's a mature woman. I use that term to say over 35 or maybe over 40, right? And she pivoted during COVID when she was terrified, by the way, for her own health, for elderly people at home that she cares for, and just in general for her audience that couldn't get on the tennis courts and couldn't get to the gym. And she pivoted and provided online health and fitness support for them. When
Wow.
she felt at her most fearful and worst, she was like, wait a minute, I have to rally and this was under my tutelage and us working together, I have to rally and do something. My people need me right now. So when it becomes, ooh, I just got goosebumps. When it
Oh,
becomes about the audience,
yeah.
when you have a product or a service or an idea and it is serving someone and a solution for what may be either real or perceived problem they're having, then that is when the magic really happens in terms of service, influence, impact, and income, right? Because if I need something and Jill's got it, I'm buying it,
And you're gonna, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what she did. She created something online. It then inspired her, and we have a call today because she has a new idea. I am not privy to share it yet, but
Oh,
she is looking at another aspect. You know, you have the tip of your umbrella whenever you're a service or product provider, and then you have all the things that come from that. So if you think about companies and yourself as a brand, you want to specialize in one thing. And then all the other branches and fabulous ideas you have can be developed as time goes on. Think of Tom's shoes, right? I'm trying to think of other ones now and it's slipping my mind, but there's so many, you may think of some, Jill, that are known for one thing. Even speakers, Brene Brown, vulnerability.
yeah.
Maritza Coscarelli, empowerment, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be known for what you are known for. And then once you are known to a particular audience, you can brand.
Then,
So she is creating a new branch to her coaching, to her business. I am so proud of her because, you know, her special needs don't stop her. They actually make her stand out. And I think that is a phenomenal story. And I also will tell you that I do some work with her um, as a radically generous act. What I mean by that is I don't always ask her to pay me for my time. I feel like
wow.
when you give to someone who really creates results, her testimonials, her referrals, her recommendations of my work mean more to me than any dollars in my bank account. I don't recommend that for everyone. And I do want you to be paid for your expertise, but I will tell you what, be radically generous with what you know and what you have, and it'll come back to you 10 times.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
She's
Wow.
a phenomenal woman. I cannot wait.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing all this. Would you mind sharing the best form and all forms of contact for you, please?
Yes, so Maritza Coscarelli everywhere on
Yeah.
Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, an occasional tweet or TikTok, not my wheelhouse, and you don't have to
Yeah.
be everything to everyone. MaritzaCoscarelli.com is the website. You can find a link there to book a complimentary breakthrough call. You can look at the other services I offer, 3, 6 months, a year, a VIP day here at the beach. We've got to put all that content in there because I think Jill's going to come visit me. I hope. I'm crossing my fingers that some of you will come out and enjoy this beautiful environment and also create a space for you to be and become everything you dream about.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Exciting to have you here as always, and pleasure to see you. And thank you for another great conversation. And gosh, I would love, see, the one problem I have is I have kids now. I don't get to do what I want to do anymore, and I don't have any help.
I
I would
know.
be like, sure, I'm coming down for the weekend because my nanny's watching my kids or my mom, but my mom passed away. So I don't have that luxury. I would do it in a heartbeat.
You know what? You gave me an idea. You see how needs, you have to be listening to people in
Mm,
your audience because
I
I can
want,
provide or will look to provide
I'm
through
trying.
one of my incredible yoga teachers that has two beautiful children. Who cares for your children? Do you trust them implicitly? Could this person care for children of the women I work with when they're with me for 24 or 48 hours? And I could provide that. So thank you for saying that out loud because
Thank you.
you might be able to bring them here, have them really well cared for, and then off to Disney or something in Florida.
See?
So that would
All
be
right.
exciting.
I got to change my thinking. Thank
That
you.
would be great.
I
Thank you,
will
Jill.
be there. Positive thinking. Maritza
Aw.
Coscarelli, thank you so much. Have a great day, hon.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.